quorum.
Councillors, I'll declare the meeting open, and firstly, thank you very much for your attendance today. Can I also recognise the staff who are in the room here today and thank them, as I will, in a few moments for the amount of work they've done. Today is our budget meeting, and it's a time of the year, and a very important time of the year, when the hard work that we've done over a long period of time comes together to receive recognition not only in the community but as our template for the future. Can I thank those who are here and those who are watching live online? Thank you very much for being part of it today. Can I acknowledge the Aboriginal parties whose songlines traverse these lands we meet on today, the Western Waka Waka, the Guybil, the Jarrawa and the Bigambul peoples, and can I pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging, for they hold the knowledge, the rich traditions and the bold ambitions of Australia's first people. Obviously, councillors, there are no apologies. There's no leave of absence. Anyone wishing to be granted leave of absence? Councillor Cahill was suggesting there's no leave of absence today.
Oh, sorry.
Now over to you. I understand you're seeking leave of absence.
Yes, Chair. I'd like to seek leave of absence for next Thursday, the ordinary meeting on the 23rd.
Okay. Someone like to move accordingly, please? Councillor Melissa Taylor and Councillor Tim McMahon have moved and seconded. Those in favour? That is carried. Is there any declaration of interest or declaration of declarable interest? If not, councillors will move to item 3, which is the adoption of the 2022-23 operational plan. The plan is before you. The General Managers and Dave Quinlan are here to answer any questions. Are there any questions from anybody? Councillor McDonald?
No question, Mayor, but I'm happy to make comment and move the adoption of the operational plan.
Thank you.
So, councillors, we've obviously worked through this very closely, actually, the last 6 months or so, and therefore, this being the councillors' budget, I think it is appropriate that we're the ones who speak to this operational plan and indeed the budget. The operational plan has 179 actions, 306 milestones and 342 KPIs. It obviously explains how we're going to deliver, and particularly around the non-financial items of the budget. And that's a critical part for our commitment to our community, as to today is all about setting about achieving, so in 12 months' time we can look back and say we have achieved what we've set out to achieve. It talks about business continuity planning and particularly around the management of operational risks, which not only this council is clearly focused on, but Queensland Audit Office have also paid particular attention on the management of risks for local government right across Queensland. Works hand in glove with the capital program, and that's why it's important it's also adopted here today. The operational plan this year has aspirational targets, as it should have, but it also has in mind the current prevailing conditions of financial and non-financial activities that are happening not only in our local government but indeed across the nation and in the world. So the operational budget then is there for us to adopt today, and I'm more than happy to adopt, as per the recommendation, the 22-23 operational plan as attachment 1 to 6 in this report.
Councillor McDonald has moved. Do I have a seconder? Is that Councillor Shine? Any comments around the room? If not, I'll put that motion. Those in favour? That's carried. Thank you very much. Move then to item 4, and as you know, this budget has been developed in a way that hasn't been open to the public. I seek a motion now that the matter be discussed in an open meeting. Is there anyone wishing to move? Councillor McDonald has moved that. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Sommerfield? Those in favour? The motion is carried. We move then to item 5, which is the budget that I will be introducing, and it will be my budget speech. My fellow councillors, staff, ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to table the Toowoomba Regional Council's 2022-23 Budget and Operational Plan. Our detailed forward schedule of capital works and operational programs has been carefully devised over the past year. Inflationary conditions that are influencing the national and global economic environment are a reminder of the need for cautious and considered financial planning. In the year following the worst effect of coronavirus pandemic, our region has been severely disrupted by flood events that have also devastated many communities across a large section of New South Wales and South East Queensland. We are working to complete the emergency road repairs as quickly as possible in the wake of 4 declared flood events in the past 6 months. The full restoration works will take us at least 2 years to complete. Council is also finalising a more detailed list of projects for which we are seeking betterment funding from the Commonwealth and state governments. The betterment program specifically allows roads and other infrastructure to be built to a more flood-resilient standard. This latest damage across our roads and infrastructure network has an estimated repair bill of approximately $100 million. Our emergency services personnel and state emergency service volunteers have worked tirelessly to answer community call-outs in response to the flood and storm damage. This mirrors the selflessness we've seen displayed by all of our health service workers during the pandemic and the right through to this current day. Our community can be proud of its ongoing efforts, and we are extremely thankful for their services. Despite the uncertain global financial outlook, Council managed to continue working in accordance with our long-term financial sustainability parameters to ensure we budget for essential capital works and services that support our communities in the coming year and long into the future. Today's budget draws on the combined talents of Council's financial services team in collaboration with all operational areas of the Toowoomba Regional Council. Can I particularly thank my council colleagues for their input over the past year that ensured we kept all our essential services open and functioning. Our combined efforts have maintained the focus on delivering for our community. We understand how health restrictions, disruptions from natural disasters, plus rising cost pressures across all sectors are affecting business activity and investment, not to mention the family household budget. Our 2022-23 budget has been framed to tailor our services to the needs that we need to meet for our residents. This work highlights what can be achieved by working together. In our role as community builders, I'm proud to announce that today's Toowoomba Regional Council is unveiling a $519 million financial plan that will ensure we maintain and upgrade existing services and facilities while planning for a brighter future for one of Queensland's most productive, livable and attractive areas. Council's solid financial footing has allowed us to develop a $159 million capital program along with an operating budget component of $360 million. A capital allocation of $69.49 million for asset renewal in this budget emphasises Council's strong focus on investing in infrastructure renewal programs across our extensive water, wastewater, road network, plus other community assets to look after what we have built in the past. Council has a legal and a moral obligation to maintain its existing infrastructure, and our ability to manage our $5.5 billion asset base across our 13,000 square kilometres is a key performance indicator by which we are judged by the Queensland Audit Office and, more broadly and ultimately, by the Queensland Parliament. In addition, $66.53 million is set aside for upgrade projects, while $23.26 million has been allocated for new capital projects across the region. We have a responsibility to plan for maintenance and upgrades in our existing infrastructure to guarantee the long-term viability of essential services to our residents. We appreciate that every new asset comes with its own ongoing maintenance costs. Council's overall operation and capital expenditure parameters are based on our 10-year long-term financial forecast, which is not only adopted by Council but overseen by the local government department, the Queensland Treasury Corporation and, of course, Queensland Audit Office. The LTFF is a forecasting tool that Council uses to ensure set financial parameters are maintained in the short and long term, thereby ensuring ongoing financial sustainability. Budget planning is in line with our LTFF, has enabled Council to deliver a 2.5% increase in the general rate. Disciplined planning has allowed Council to deliver a consistent average general rate increase for 8 successive years. This is measured and a responsible rate rise, with a net overall increase in rates and charges of 2.35% for the average Toowoomba urban residential property. This means that most of the residential ratepayers will have an increase of $81.28 a year, or $1.56 a week after discount, which includes all rates and all charges. Today's budget is the result of consistent planning employed by Council over the past 13 years to ensure we have a strong financial footing to enable future councils to confidently service our growing region, with the added financial strength to counter unforeseen events. Going to the 2022-23 financial year, Council is budgeting for a forecast operating deficit of $5.8 million. Finance Chair, Councillor McDonald, will explain more around this figure and the other details. The Queensland Treasury Corporation has maintained Council's credit rating as sound with a neutral outlook. The budget reflects the priorities outlined in Council's operational plan 2022-23 and our corporate plan 2019 to 2024. Very few organisations deliver the range of services that local governments provide for their customers every day, from safe drinking water, sewerage, rubbish collection, to roads, parks and a host of amenities such as libraries, galleries, community and cultural centres, to a range of planning activities and services to safeguard public health and safety, among many others. In the coming year, the major areas of capital expenditure will include $50.73 million for roads, car parking, bridges, footpaths, bikeways, drainage and an aerodrome project, $46.66 million for water projects, $6.28 million for wastewater projects, $11.7 million for waste services, $14.41 million for parks and recreation projects, $11.4 million for community services and facilities, libraries, cultural service and property services, $15.81 million for renewal of plant, fleet and equipment, and $2.3 million for business strategy and operations. Planning for the long-term water security is imperative for our growing region and our neighbouring local government areas. Council is working with the Queensland Government on the Darling Downs Regional Water Assessment. I look forward to understanding the details that will be contained in the final report that is designed to deliver water security for the study area, which includes TRC, Southern Downs, Gundawindi and part of the Western Downs Regional Council, as well as underpin economic growth for this important agricultural area. While our region is in a fortunate position to have 3 full dams for our drinking water following record late summer rains, we must keep our eye on the future. Council is seeking state government's funding to upgrade our pumping capacity for the Wivenhoe pipeline, as well as moving the pump station above Wivenhoe flood capacity level. Supplying drinking water to all residents is an essential and a non-negotiable service. Striking the balance between ensuring water security and affordability is a key consideration for our region's medium and long-term water solution. In addition to supplying residential water, we need a vision that includes nation-building infrastructure, including new dams, to offer certainty to investors and future generations. Critical interregional projects must include viable water supply options to support business and industry, particularly for major investments in large-scale horticulture operations that are planned at this stage for the Toowoomba Trade Gateway. Our planning must harness more efficient water use, and we must be extra vigilant with our water management. Viable water supply options will ensure we cater for growth and contribute to the state and national economies. In the Toowoomba region, we are anticipating 55,000 new residents will live and work in our region in the next 30 years. We are undertaking one of the most important strategic planning studies, Toowoomba Region Futures, to ensure our enviable lifestyle can be enjoyed by future generations. We're building a vision for the future that embraces opportunity and keeps what we love and enjoy. The program will deliver a new Toowoomba planning scheme, an infrastructure plan and a growth plan, which together will provide a roadmap for managing sustainable urban growth throughout our region. Residents still have until June the 19th this week to help shape our future by providing feedback on the draft strategic framework and 2 potential options for urban growth. The strategic framework paints a vision for the future development of Toowoomba. It is an important step in defining how our region will grow and the type of communities that future generations will use and they will enjoy. The Toowoomba region's gross regional product of $11.7 billion grew by 4.2% in the period between 2020 and 2021. This is mirrored by positive signs on the employment front, based on Queensland Government figures. Our region has a record 81,435 people in the labour force, with our unemployment rate currently standing at 4.5%. Our region's youth unemployment rate has dropped from the pandemic high of 27.2% in September 2020 to 10.4% at April this year. Council is keen to continue working with all our economic and business organisations to ensure the benefits are shared right across our region. Council is committed to working with our local suppliers. We proudly promote our procurement policy, which was enhanced at the start of the pandemic in 2020 and which continues to pay dividends right across this region. In the current financial year to May 2022, Council has spent $177 million with local suppliers. This equates to 64% of our total expenditure, with additional payments yet to be made in June. In addition, our 14-day payment terms from the date of invoice further highlights the priority we are placing on keeping jobs and capital circulating in the Toowoomba economy. I'm pleased to report there has been significant progress on key Council of Mayors South East Queensland projects, notably the SEQ City deal and opportunities provided around the 2032 Olympic Games. Following the March announcement of a $25 million for the Railway Parklands project, Council will advance work on detailed design in the coming year. Council's vision is for an urban village with a green heart to cater for the projected inner urban population as outlined in the City Centre Master Plan. The rest of the surrounding priority area, PDA, primarily will be developed by the private sector over the next 20 to 30 years, with the parklands that we provide acting as a catalyst for prospective investment by private and public groups. To advance private sector development in this area and the wider Toowoomba CBD, Council continues to offer a total pool of $3 million or $1 million per eligible applicant in incentives for new development via our temporary Toowoomba CBD development incentives policy. The South East Queensland City Deal is a 20-year partnership between the Commonwealth Government, Queensland Government and the councils in ComSec. And it provides a shared commitment to transform South East Queensland and deliver regional shaping infrastructure. My mayoral colleagues in the Western Corridor are committed to pressing for the case for a Brisbane to Toowoomba fast rail, and a new publicity campaign is about to start. Toowoomba has significant potential as a pre-games training destination across multiple sports in the years before the main events of the Olympic Games. We have experienced this before the 2000 Sydney Olympics. The new Toowoomba Equine Centre of Excellence development plan will guide the upgrade of facilities at the Toowoomba Showgrounds. The development plan has the potential to deliver significant benefits to our region for the existing state and national competitions, in addition to any possible involvement in the 2032 events. The Toowoomba Wellcamp Airport has a significant capability to serve as a secure entry point to Australia for international teams, particularly those requiring biosecurity clearances for horses. We will continue to advocate for our fair share of funding to achieve our community goals and ambitions. The reduction in our financial assistance grant allocation will directly affect our capacity to deliver essential urban infrastructure and other services. If we do not reverse this disappointing decision by the Queensland Local Government Grants Commission, we need more appropriate and equitable funding allocations from higher levels of government to support our community building plans. Council's financial stability should not penalise us, particularly as we navigate uncertain economic environments. Council and the Darling Downs and South West Council of Mayors continues to back Australian Local Government Association's campaign calling for a fixed 1% of Commonwealth tax revenue to aid long-term financial planning. Restoring this non-competitive funding stream would improve Council's targeted budget planning and offer greater operational efficiency. Local government cannot carry the full cost of providing the essential infrastructure in addition to meeting residents' growing expectations across the other activities. Council is determined to capitalise on a strong financial position. Our region boasts unlimited prospects and an attractive lifestyle with leading health and education resources across a very welcoming and livable region. I particularly want to acknowledge and thank Deputy Mayor and Finance Business Strategy Committee Chair, Councillor McDonald, Portfolio Leader Councillor Shine, Council General Manager in Finance and Business Strategy, Anne-Marie Johnson, and Executive Director of Business Transformation and Strategy, David Quinlan, for their concerted efforts during our budget and our operational plans. Can I please place on the record my and my colleagues' gratitude for the hard work that you've done. But can I also thank all of my colleagues who sit around this table. This has been a long journey, and as we slowly work through it, putting issue by issue on the table, we finally came up with what we've come up with, an outstanding plan today. And I'm very confident that our combined efforts will position the Toowoomba region to become an even more popular destination of choice for families, for business investors and for tourists. And it will allow future residents to seize opportunities for a positive future. Thank you very much, and I'll hand over to Deputy Mayor, Councillor McDonald.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mayor. Congratulations on your budget speech. Thank you to council colleagues and indeed the executive leadership team who've worked tirelessly over the last 9 months to put together this budget. We enter the 2022-23 financial year following 2 years of a global pandemic, having experienced 4 significant rain events in the past year. Navigating this period has been extremely difficult, not just for council, but for the entire community. We understand the cost of living and the cost of doing business has increased significantly in the past year. Our community is feeling the impact of this, which is why we've listened, and we will be implementing a modest rate increase of 2.5% this financial year. While this is well below CPI, we believe the 2.5% increase will allow us to maintain critical service delivery for our residents, while being mindful of the increases to living expenses such as fuel, groceries and energy prices. This is a measured and responsible rate rise with a net overall increase in rates and charges of 2.35% for the average Toowoomba urban residential property. This means that most Toowoomba residential ratepayers will have an increase of $81.28 or $1.56 a week after discount, which includes all rates and charges, including water and wastewater charges. And as the Mayor alluded to earlier, with our community feeling the pinch, we're prepared to do what's necessary to help them through this difficult period, even though this sees us forecasting a $5.8 million deficit. While we would prefer not to be forecasting a deficit, we're comfortable we can do this due to our strong financial stewardship. Disciplined planning has allowed Council to deliver a consistent average general rate increase for the past 8 years. It should be noted that this is only a forecast deficit and could change if we're able to receive additional government funding. Late last year, the Financial Assistance Grant program was restructured, with our region set to see a reduction of almost $8 million in operational funding over the next 3 years. With the way the program has been restructured and a prepayment this current financial year, we will likely have a larger than expected surplus this year. However, this will likely result in the $5.8 million deficit in 22-23, which is directly correlated to the reduction of grants we'll be receiving. Without the reduction from this funding stream, there likely wouldn't be a deficit, which is why we need to continue advocating for more funding for our region. We simply can't continue asking more from our residents when they're already dealing with the increased cost of living, so we'll be fighting hard for funding from both state and federal governments, keeping in mind that the state budget is handed down next Tuesday and a revised federal budget will take place on October 25. This year marks the first time as an organisation that we've developed a capital program with a 3-year forecast rather than an individual year. This approach aims to improve our deliverability and reduce annual carryovers. At the top of the list, residents can expect to see a major focus on flood recovery works and water security in the coming years. Repeated rain events have seen our road network ravaged, and as such, it's imperative we get out there as quickly as we can and repair the damage that has occurred. This will be a huge undertaking over the next 2 years. In the coming years, we'll also be investing significantly into major water infrastructure projects with the upgrade of Mount Kynoch Water Treatment Plant and the business case for the dam safety upgrades taking place this financial year. We know the dam safety upgrades and new water treatment plant will require considerable capital over many years, which is why we're being so measured with our financial approach this year. We acknowledge the treatment and delivery of water is expensive. However, there is a lot of work that goes into ensuring all residents have access to a safe and reliable water source. Being located at the top of a mountain also makes our situation more challenging. However, we're fortunate our dams are now full, which reduces the need to pump water from Ivanhoe. As an organisation, we've undertaken a review on our water pricing structure. As part of the independent review, it was found that Council's current water charge structure is sound and generally consistent with regulatory guidance and best practice. However, the review did identify opportunities to tidy up some inconsistency in water pricing across our water schemes, to provide a consistent pricing signal regarding the need for efficient water use and water conservation across the region, and this will be addressed during the next 3 years. In addition to this, we'll continue with the Queensland Treasury Corporation's recommended 3-year price path for water rates, with 2022-23 being the second year. What that means is the average rate for residents connected to the Toowoomba bulk water supply will receive a 2.1% increase, and those not connected to the system will receive a 5.98% increase. To assist our community with this payment, the pensioner rebate applied against the water infrastructure charge has been doubled from $35 per annum to $70 to help pensioners with the cost of water charges. Overall, Council's budget for 22-23 financial year is $519 million, made up of $159 million in capital projects and $360 million operational. As part of the capital projects, $23.25 million has been allocated towards new projects, $66.53 million on upgrades and $69.49 million on renewals. One of our key long-term financial measures is the asset sustainability ratio, which is the annual spend on capital renewal projects as a percentage of the depreciation value. Council has set a target of 70% or greater, which is supported by the Queensland Audit Office and the State Department of Local Government. Our asset sustainability ratio is forecast at 62.4% for the 22-23 financial year, which is a good result. At a time when we're currently experiencing unprecedented supply chain delays, a significant rise in price of materials and challenges from the rain events and COVID-19, our community should feel reassured their local government authority is in a strong financial position that can weather the storm. This is a mature and sensible budget which looks after the needs of our community and ensures Council's long-term financial forecast isn't impacted in a negative way. Now I'd like to hand over to Councillor Shine, and in doing so acknowledge Councillor Kerry's dedication, commitment and wise input into the budgetary process. Thank you, Kerry.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I concur with the remarks of the Mayor and the Deputy Mayor concerning their thanks regarding the work of the Finance and Business team. If COVID-19 has taught us anything, it's the need to be flexible and adaptable to the world around us. Things have changed significantly in that time, and it's vital we continue to adapt and respond accordingly. Over the past 2 years, we've needed our workforce to work remotely, to respond to new obstacles, and to come up with creative solutions to meet the needs of our community. Information and communication technology, ICT, has been at the core of this work, and to ensure we're able to continue serving our residents, we'll be investing further in this space in the coming financial year. $982,000 will be spent on Council's ICT equipment replacement program, with a focus on converting from desktop computers to laptops at the end of their life cycle to make us more flexible and mobile. This ongoing investment will enable us to be more effective and efficient when delivering services to our residents. As well as investing in our equipment replacement program, we'll be upgrading a number of our other programs to improve business processes. In this budget, $225,000 will be spent on the Info Pathway UX project to support a number of critical services. Council's Pathway system will be moved to a web-based version of Pathway, which will benefit the organisation by providing improved mobility, usage options and increased user satisfaction. This program will implement enhancements and developments on Council's systems. Council has also committed operational funding of $1.75 million for the Technology One upgrade, as well as $50,000 for eDocs DM upgrades. These systems are essential for staff to allow us to respond to the requirements of our residents. With technology playing such an important role in our organisation, community and society, we also need to ensure we're doing everything possible to protect our data. As with many organisations around the world, cybersecurity is one of the biggest risks facing our council. ICT security has become an increasingly complex and costly discipline to manage within organisations. Council will continue to bolster its cybersecurity capabilities in moving to deliver a high level of protection for Council's information systems and assets. Council has committed $250,000 for this project to deliver cybersecurity initiatives throughout the organisation. While it's crucial we protect our systems and assets, it's equally as important we continue to deliver news and information to our residents. Our community is spread throughout the region and has different ways for how they would like to receive information from Council. As such, we're committed to tailoring our message and the delivery of this message to ensure all residents remain well informed. To do this, we'll continue to distribute Council's Bold magazine to all households throughout the region, as well as using our website, our social media channels, local news outlets, and various methods to deliver timely and accurate updates to our residents. In addition to this, our staff continue to make themselves available at our customer services centres for any questions residents may have. This can be done by visiting one of the offices in person, making a call to our friendly team, or by contacting us online. Our staff are here to assist residents with their day-to-day requests. Finally, as Chair of the Bridge Street Quarry Development Advisory Committee, I'm pleased to see Council's ongoing commitment to the necessary planning for preparatory rehabilitation work to be advanced, the commitment being for $500,000 over the next 2 financial years. Our community continues to grow and mature, and it's up to Council to facilitate this growth. I'm confident this budget allows us to do this and puts us in good stead for future years to continue meeting the needs of our residents. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Shine. I'll now hand over to Councillor Carol Taylor, who's the Chair of Infrastructure, to speak.
Thank you, Mr Mayor, Deputy Mayor, and my councillor colleagues and those watching this budget meeting online. Thanks for the opportunity to speak on the infrastructure area of Council's budget for 2022-23. The main highlights of this budget are flood damage restoration will be the main focus of the infrastructure portfolio for the 2022-23 year. $50.73 million is committed to capital infrastructure projects across the Toowoomba region. $2 million to upgrade unsealed Nuku Road at Crow's Nest, a link to Blackbutt, and $1.25 million Black Spot project to upgrade Margaret and Mackenzie Street intersection under the federal government's Black Spot funding. Council will invest in major projects and the continued renewal of our region's assets in 2022 to 23. These essential projects are the key to ensuring our community remains resilient, particularly from the recent wet weather events, and prospers into the future. As well as the impacts of COVID, our Toowoomba region has experienced fire and floods in recent years. These events have placed enormous social, emotional, and financial pressures on our community, and will continue to do so as we recover from the difficulties that these events have brought. Council looks after more than 6,500 kilometres of sealed and unsealed roads, and this is the second longest length of local government road in Queensland. We have 85 roundabouts and around 700 kilometres of footpaths and cycleways across our region. Every time we leave home, we journey along a local road. With this in mind, Council has made a commitment to road improvements and safety across our region, investing $50.7 million into our road and drainage capital budget, $15.8 million in fleet and logistics, and a continuation of operational spend. $2 million has been allocated to start the upgrade of the unsealed section of Nuku Road, which is north of Crow's Nest, and it's a huge link to the South Burnett and up to the north coast. $1.8 million will be invested to complete an upgrade to the Dolby-Nungell Road at Irvingdale through the Australian Government's Heavy Vehicle Safety and Productivity Program on a 4-kilometre section of the road on Toowoomba Regional Council's boundary. This will take it from a single lane to a 2-lane sealed road. $1.5 million has been allocated to rehabilitate the pavement and surface of the Greenmount-Eatonvale Road at Greenmount, and a further $1 million has been committed to the rehabilitation of Nangwee Road, Nangwee, and Jeffreys Road at Norwin, and both will benefit from a rehabilitation and surface project at a cost of $1.5 million. Clifton Road at Clifton will be resurfaced with $700,000 allocated this year. Many of our roads are key freight routes in our region, and this investment will create jobs and strengthen the economic growth of our region's key agricultural industries, complementing the network as it continues in our neighbouring council areas. As we know, our residents really don't mind who owns the road as long as the road's in reasonable condition. Agriculture is the backbone of our Toowoomba region, and Council focuses on strengthening our rural communities. These projects are vital in the economic success of our agricultural sector and will enhance the productivity for our rural residents, improving overall road safety in these areas for all road users. Council has committed $800,000 to begin the upgrade of the Highfields, O'Brien and Kratzky Road intersection. We recognise traffic flows will continue to increase in Highfields. This is a multi-year project and is expected construction will begin later this year in the 2022-23 budget. A major focus of this year's infrastructure budget is on safety, and as we've seen in Queensland, 1 death each day so far this year, it is actually unacceptable. And some of our major Toowoomba intersections are set to be upgraded with the federal government's black spot funding. There are high volumes of accidents at these intersections, which has been allowed us to be successful with these applications. The Margaret and Mackenzie Street intersection will receive $1.25 million. A new roundabout for the Perth and Curzon Street intersection will receive $1.025 million, and the Bridge and Hume intersection will receive $925,000. These upgrades include traffic signals, line marking and configuration, which improves safety for motorists. An upgrade to Pierces Creek Road at Emu Creek in the north will start this financial year with $400,000 allocated for safety improvements through Black Spot, and Old Gumbungie Road at Burnham will be upgraded for $400,000. As part of our asset renewal, Council has committed $25 million to rehabilitating and resealing our sealed road network, gravel resheeting and renewing asphalt surfaces across the Toowoomba region. This is a significant spend which underlines Council's commitment to maintaining and improving our road network, especially in regional areas. I have advocated for this every year since being elected to Council in 2008. It's vital that residents in our region have a reasonable level of access to the road network, regardless of where they live. As part of the revitalisation of Toowoomba City Centre, $1.7 million has been allocated to complete the urban renewal project as part of the Russell Street precinct. It is a much valued part of our city's heritage and cultural landscape. As Infrastructure Committee Chair, I acknowledge our Infrastructure Services Portfolio Councillor Melissa Taylor and thank her for her hard work in our portfolio, and I acknowledge my fellow councillors. I further acknowledge the valued work of our entire organisation. My special thanks go to Infrastructure Services Group General Manager Mike Brady and Council's entire ISG team. These are particularly challenging times for Council and for our staff teams. And whilst there is much work to be done, we stand behind our communities. We, the Council and ISG, look forward to delivering our infrastructure budget, supporting local businesses and growing our region. Thank you.
Hand over now to infrastructure person, Councillor Melissa Taylor. Melissa, infrastructure lead.
Thank you, Chair. Echoing the comments of our Mayor regarding the budgetary challenges our community face in the current financial environment, I also acknowledge our region is vibrant and dynamic and continues to grow despite the economic and social challenges that have continued into 2022. As Toomba's region continues to grow and move towards a new era, it's vital Council delivers infrastructure that will keep pace with the growth. Albeit this delivery continues to be challenged with rising costs, substantial decrease in state and federal infrastructure grant funding, construction challenges and repeated weather events. Planning and investing in key infrastructure and assets now is key. It means we can tailor our plan for future growth and sustain the lifestyle and culture we hold so dear. As the region grows, we have a responsibility to facilitate safer, more reliable and user-friendly public and active transport. Council continues to explore active transport options that will encourage a change in the way we travel around our city, our townships and our broader region. Providing an efficient and serviceable public transport network is important for any growing city. That's why we've committed to our region-wide bus stop renewal program. At least 10 bus stops are programmed to be upgraded as part of the ensuing financial year's program. Footpaths are the foundation of any active transport network. Ensuring residents are able to move easily throughout the region will be an ongoing focus for Council. We'll invest almost $2 million this year constructing and planning for new footpaths, as well as maintenance through our footpath renewal program. This program aims to upgrade footpaths across our region to improve amenity and maintain functionality. This financial year, we will deliver new footpaths in our region. Westbrook, Kingsthorpe, Millmerran, Glenvale and Clifton will benefit from investment in new footpaths, while footpaths in Bowenville, Cambodia, Oakey, Nobby, Pittsworth and Crow's Nest will be planned. Next financial year, Council will continue to invest in parking options for the region to meet the current and future needs of motorists. In line with the Toowoomba City Centre parking strategy, we'll invest $1 million implementing the Smart Parking project across the Toowoomba City Centre parking precinct, going live in July and enabling Council to better manage the parking needs. Smart technology will allow motorists to plan trips more efficiently, which will improve traffic flow and reduce congestion within our city centre. And it's with great excitement, as Chair of the Regional Active and Public Transport Advisory Committee, I announce Council will progress the development of concept and design plans to improve the pedestrian and cycle facilities in our city centre. Whether for fun, fitness or as a means of active transport, riding a bike is a great way to get around. That's why Council has committed funding to improve and upgrade elements of the region's cycle network, with construction expected to commence later this year. While major infrastructure projects are critical for our region, I'm pleased to see a concerted effort in this budget towards upgrading our networks in our regional areas, a program that is of vital importance to our regional communities. Residents choose to live in the Toowoomba region for its unparalleled lifestyle. It's vital Council meets the needs of the community and provides residents with essential services and facilities so ours remains a livable, modern and attractive region for residents and visitors alike. I would like to acknowledge Infrastructure Chair, Councillor Carol Taylor, for her continued commitment to our region, and indeed all my fellow councillors for your undertaking and working to carefully balance the needs of all the areas throughout our Toowoomba region as we strive to make it an even better and vibrant place for our community. But it is with a special thank you that I extend to Infrastructure Services Group General Manager Mike Brady and his entire team, for your dedication and hard work every day in what can at times be disheartening and challenging weather events that undo previous works and can make future projects even more difficult. Yet you show up time and time again for our community and commit to making our roads and pathways safe for us to enjoy our beautiful region.
Thank you very much, Portfolio Lead, Infrastructure Committee, Melissa Taylor. I'll now hand over to the Chair of Water and Waste, Councillor Rebecca Vonhoff.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to acknowledge my councillor colleagues, the Portfolio Lead, Councillor Nancy Sommerfield, and each of the dedicated water and waste officers here at Council. Water is Toowoomba Region's most precious resource, and in Council's 22-23 budget, almost $53 million has been committed to water and wastewater capital projects. We've focused on the importance of asset management. It might not sound sexy, but it's very important. Future growth and renewing ageing infrastructure that delivers an urban water supply to tens of thousands of residents every single day. A key investment this financial year will be $21.5 million for a staged upgrade of the Mount Kynoch water treatment plant to increase capacity from 55 megalitres per day to 65 megalitres per day. While increasing capacity, these major upgrade works will also extend the life of the current Mount Kynoch plant by more than a decade. The upgrades will also complement the work that will now get underway to plan for a future treatment plant for the Toowoomba region to cater for more expected growth. We've allocated more than $8 million to work on upgrades for dam safety at both Cresbrook and Kubi dams. The dams will each receive $4 million this financial year to begin an expression of interest process for safety upgrades to ensure compliance. The EOI process will be for the design and construction of the upgrades to meet current standards to ensure flood resilience and safety into the future. We've also committed $3.5 million to the Highfields Trunk Water Mains project to install vital trunk infrastructure on Corridor and Kratzky roads to cater again for population growth in Maringandan and Highfields. Upgrades to Camboodia's gravity mains infrastructure will also happen this year, with Stage 2 works totalling $300,000. This important project will be staged over 5 years to upgrade 13 kilometres of mains pipe for Cambodia. Additional trunk mains are planned for Pittsworth to provide redundancy and maintain service standards in the town, with $200,000 allocated for that project, while 1.8 kilometres of the Gowrie Creek trunk sewer will be upgraded with an allocation of $300,000. As part of upgrading existing assets, Council will continue to invest in its wastewater treatment plants. In Clifton, we've committed $1.5 million to start the design phase to upgrade the Clifton wastewater treatment plant. Commissioned in the 1970s, the plant requires a substantial upgrade to meet current regulatory and environmental requirements. An improved treatment plant will provide a valuable resource for the local agricultural industry by making available fit-for-purpose recycled water to grow fodder crops at a nearby council-owned site. Water is, as we all know, a limited resource, and Council's focused on refining its conservation practices. This year, Council will allocate more than $5.5 million to progress its smart water meter program. Through smart water technology, residents will be able to monitor their water usage and identify leaks, which will lead to savings across our network. We've committed more than $2.1 million to undertake vital renewal works to replace the Perseverance raw water main. This 28-kilometre pipe runs from Peachy Reservoir to Mount Kynoch water treatment plant, and it's vital to maintain Toowoomba's water supply. The current pipe will be replaced to increase capacity in line with the Mount Kynoch treatment plant upgrades. All of this is part of securing the region's future water supply. Thank you, Chair. I'll hand back to you, but I look forward to hearing from Councillor Sommerfield and hear her speak to the waste budget allocations, and I thank her for our working partnership and acknowledge her passion and her knowledge and commitment to the water and waste portfolio.
Over to you, Councillor Sommerfield.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Councillor Rebecca, for those kind words. I'd also like to thank all of my colleagues around the table as we've worked through developing up this budget that we're actually dealing with today. But particularly I'd also like to thank our water and waste staff and our finance staff who are here today that have all worked very hard behind the scene to help us in moving forward to get to the point where we are today. So thank you very much. I sincerely thank you. Waste management is one of Council's core essential services, providing safe public health and environmental outcomes across our communities. At the heart of our waste management strategy is a change of perception, a need for everyone to view waste as a potential resource and to think about how to use that resource most efficiently. It's also crucial to find the right balance between delivering new essential waste infrastructure while managing the cost of ongoing maintenance and replacement of existing assets. This is something that I've nagged on about for a fair few years now. It's a really important balance that we have to find. With that in mind, Council is investing $11.7 million in capital waste projects in this coming budget. $3 million of that will see commencement of the Greenmount Waste Management Facility upgrade. This project is central to the southeastern side of our region and will greatly enhance operations in that area whilst providing increased opportunities to maximise diversion from landfill. Similarly, a further $1.8 million has been allocated to complete the Yarraman Waste Management Facility upgrade, which Newlands commenced late last year. A major and exciting focus of the waste budget this year is the inclusion of $2.5 million towards a new MRF. This project is a waste game changer for our region, with opportunity to service surrounding council areas as well, creating a local circular economy for recyclable materials. Investment of a further $3.5 million for Stage 2 of the Toowoomba Waste Management Centre vertical expansion aligns with our waste management strategy. Council has committed funding to undertake detailed design work and to purchase liner materials with the commissioning of the cell expected in the coming year. The entire Bedford Street landfill footprint has decades of capacity, but vertical expansion ensures even greater capacity, providing a waste asset for our region that many councils would yearn to own. More works will be completed on the landfill gas utilisation project at the Toowoomba Waste Management Centre, which will eventually generate power for the Watala wastewater treatment plant. While discussions on this project began back when Councillor John Goulson and I shared the water and waste portfolio in the 2012 term, it's great to see it becoming a reality. Council entered into a 20-year contract with LGI Limited in 2020 to utilise natural forming landfill gas to generate energy, offsetting about 60% of the power consumption of Watala, along with electricity into the state grid. This project will deliver income through royalty payments to Council from the sale of electricity and carbon abatement programs. We estimate the site will produce around 600 cubic metres of gas per hour, which is sufficient to run a 1 megawatt generator. $220,000 has been committed in this budget for the installation of electrical infrastructure to enable acceptance of power generated by the landfill gas project. This is a great carbon offset for our landfill. Council is installing 2 wade bridges to comply with Queensland Government regulations associated with the state's waste levy. $470,000 for a double weighbridge at the Clifton Waste Management Facility and $375,000 for a single weighbridge at the Goombungee Waste Management Facility. Queensland's waste management and resource recovery strategy, underpinned by the waste disposal levy that we talk about, provides the strategic framework for Queensland to become a zero waste society, where waste is avoided, reused and recycled to the greatest possible extent. And our council is working hard to deliver outcomes based around this strategy. So remember, recycling is everyone's responsibility, so let's recycle today for a better tomorrow.
Thank you, Councillor Sommerfield. I'll now hand over to Councillor James O'Shea the Chair of Environment Community Committee.
Thank you very
Councillor
much.
O'Shea.
Thank you very much, Mr Mayor. Thank you to you. Thank you to Deputy Mayor McDonald and my council colleagues for this process today. I think it's an example, obviously, of everyone working together, essentially with a common outcome. So of delivering something responsibly and strategically, as I said, with that common goal of betterment for our community. Can I also acknowledge the staff of Toowoomba Regional Council from CEO Brian Pigeon all the way through. I think it's another example of a budgetary process is something that involves everyone involved with council. So it really is a huge effort, and it's one I'd like to acknowledge the effort of everyone involved. Today, as Chair of Environment Community Services, I would also like to extend a thank you to General Manager Nick Hauser for his leadership, for his direction, for his passion for this region, and also sharing that common goal of trying to create better for our community. Catering for the needs of the community today while planning for the future growth remains at the forefront of mind, with Council committing $25.8 million towards capital projects for environment and community services this financial year. As the population continues to grow, we know there will be a strong need for more sporting fields and community facilities, which is why we are in the early stages of developing the Toowoomba Regional Sports Precinct located in Charlton. The sporting precinct will meet the growing demand for sport and recreation facilities and help attract state and national sporting events to our region. It will provide a mix of high-quality fields and amenities for a variety of outdoor sporting activities and a district-level recreation park. Whilst this is a long-term project that will need to be completed over multiple stages, in this financial year we have committed $700,000 to progress design development. Council will also allocate $3.17 million towards the replacement of the Rockville Park clubhouse amenities. This will see the current structure transformed into a modern facility which is able to meet the current and future demand of Rockville Park, including the emergence of women's AFL within the region. The Neil Street Bus Station toilet refurbishment will also be completed this financial year as part of Council's commitment to providing safe and clean amenities throughout the region. From the land to the water, and Council will continue to progress its aquatic strategy with the $5.81 million replacement of the Millmerran Pool. With work set for completion in the upcoming summer, the project will deliver a refurbished pool shell, all disabilities access ramps, toddler pools and a water treatment system. In Oakey, we will be giving the showgrounds a much-needed facelift. $865,000 has been allocated to replace the pavilion and toilets, while a new master plan has identified additional work will be required to ensure infrastructure will be in place to support the progressive development of the showgrounds for many years to come. Jointly funded with the federal government, further funding will be invested on the renovations to refurbish the Soldiers Memorial Hall. This work includes re-roofing at the rear of the building, renovation to all areas of the original hall, amenities, kitchen and bar upgrades, addition of a lift and reconstruction of the staircase to the original design. As a part of our future planning, $540,000 has been allocated to the investigation of design options to facilitate the construction of a new administration centre to accommodate council services for the Toowoomba region. The new building will be within the existing civic precinct and will provide a modern and flexible work environment to cater for Council's CBD-based workforce and help to better support the community. Council's existing CBD offices are not fit for purpose and do not support a modern workforce, so this new building will unite our CBD-based workforce who are currently located at several separate council-owned and leased assets. This supported workplace will significantly improve how Council serves our community. The project will deliver a better connected civic precinct, which will integrate with the existing Toowoomba City Library, Toowoomba City Hall, Soldiers Memorial Hall and the Civic Square. And once again, the Community Grants Program will deliver valuable resources to our residents, with $750,000 made available across 2 rounds of funding for the 9 programs. Round 1 will be open in July, with community groups encouraged to apply. Council is committed to providing all areas throughout the region with adequate facilities to support our ever-changing lifestyle as we strive to make the Toowoomba region a destination of choice for visitors and a vibrant home for our residents. In handing back to you, Mr Mayor, I'd also like to acknowledge Portfolio Lead of Environment and Community, Councillor Tim McMahon, for his support in this portfolio, but also his vision, his passion for the region. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Councillor O'Shea. I hand over now to Portfolio Lead, Councillor Tim McMahon.
Thanks, Chair, and acknowledging Councillor O'Shea and as well as our General Manager, Nick Hauser, for his work in developing this budget, but the much anticipated opening of the Highfields Library, customer service area and community meeting rooms will take place this year. It's already a construction zone at the moment. Go and have a look if you're on your way out there. Will be completed by September to a tune of about $1.3 million in this year's budget to see that upgrade working and meeting the demands of that community. The new facility will replace the existing library, which sees 1,000 visitors a week and is not sufficient capacity to meet with demand. As part of this project, we've also upgraded the road network as we progress work on the Central Highfields Master Plan. Based on the high usage in our libraries, we must also look at our art facilities, and I'm very happy to announce that there's $34,000 in this year's budget to continue to acquire unique artworks for Council's permanent collection. These high-quality original artworks will seek to culturally enrich Toowoomba region and very much in line with community expectations around that. Our parks are very well known and are the envy of many. It's very important that we live up to our expectation as the Garden City. Several parks will see significant upgrades this year. I've enjoyed going recently to Coronation Park in Harristown, which was on last year's list and is all but complete. But this year we'll see Emerson Park in Centenary Heights be given a $1.7 million upgrade, which will include new amenities, new play and new fitness equipment, and the installation of pathways and landscaping throughout the park. Further, Carly Hibberd Park in Carney Springs will see the second stage of its master plan developed and to be built in the 23-24 financial year. Other parks throughout the region include Thies Park in Darling Heights, Lake Annand Park, Clara May Smythe Park in Highfields and Lucy Street Park in Cambodia, which will all see significant upgrades this year. We need to talk about our escarpment, which is our beachfront and the envy of many. And over several years we've been doing upgrades along that, and the final year of its master plan implementation will happen this year with $1.56 million allocated for the final stage of the escarpment upgrade master plan. There is no doubt our escarpment is a major draw card for visitors, and the funding will ensure there are modern facilities at different points along the escarpment for those who stop in this beautiful part of our world. As well as our parks and amenities, Council continues to upgrade its facilities to ensure there is safer access to residents. As mirrored by my colleague Councillor O'Shea, I look forward to the over $3 million to see the Rockville Park clubhouse amenities be adequately completed. Furthermore, Nell E. Robinson Park, which we were very fortunate to upgrade the facilities there last year, will see the construction of the car parking and off-street to begin now and constructed in the 24-25 financial year. In Pittsworth, we'll be making improvements to the skate park to make the park more safe, as well as the pedestrian zone. Our trails network is also incredibly important, and I know a lot of people use our trails for walking, jogging, horse and bike riding in the appropriate context. It's great to be giving $128,000 towards finalising improvements to our section of the Brisbane Valley Rail Trail outside of Yarraman. These works improvements include the Kooyar Creek Causeway, creek crossing switchbacks, rest stops provision and the provision of a toilet at Harland Park. We have had vast amounts of rain over the last little while, and we need to be conscious of the increased vegetation and fire risk, which means it's important that Council continues to improve its fire management network. This year, a total of $330,000 has been given to fire management and existing fire breaks update and installation of new ones in the primary fire break network to Flagstone Creek Park. In addition to this, compliance programs such as the Animal Inspection Program and food licensing will continue as we strive for a more safe and healthy region. I truly believe our region is the best place to live, work, play and raise a family, and I look forward to these upgrades contributing to that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor McMahon. I'll now hand over to Councillor Megan O'Hara Sullivan, the Chair of Planning and Development Committee. Councillor Megan.
Thanks, Mr Mayor, and thank you. I acknowledge you and my councillor colleagues and the CEO, all the general managers, but I'd particularly like to thank General Manager Anne-Marie, her and her team have done so much work in preparation for this budget, so thank you. And acknowledge Kylie too and her team who prepare all the preparation for how to get our message out about the budget, and so thank you, Kylie, and your team. Council is continuing with a multi-year project, Toowoomba Region Futures, to create a shared vision for our region and how it will develop in the next 30 years. And I'd like to thank all of our staff who are knee-deep in the community consultation process as we speak. The livability of our city and regional communities will always be Council's key priority, in line with our vision of being a vibrant, inclusive and livable region. Our region faces challenges such as managing growth, affordable housing and urban infrastructure and climate change. Toowoomba Region Futures will provide the roadmap to navigate change and realise opportunity, ensuring that new development and private investment makes a positive contribution to our future. Council will consider feedback received in finalising the Regional Growth Plan in September 2020. Based on community feedback on the strategic framework, we will continue to draft the new planning scheme, including standards for new development. We're expecting around 55,000 new residents in our region in the next 30 years, and the Toowoomba Region's Futures is our plan to ensure our enviable lifestyle is there to enjoy for generations. Our 6 priorities for planning our region's futures are responding to climate change, green region, transport choice, housing choice, healthy communities and economic growth and diversity. Council has a comprehensive approach to addressing housing matters. In addition to reviewing housing policy settings in drafting the new planning scheme, Council will consider measures to stimulate housing choice and supply in existing urban areas, particularly in the shorter term. Council will continue to develop our key strategic projects that influence and contribute to our livability. These include the Toowoomba Region Climate Risk Management Strategy. It provides a roadmap for Council and for our community to build resistance and capability and capacity to respond to the effects of climate change and variable climate. Green Infrastructure Strategy Planning Integration. Work this financial year involves drafting detailed planning provisions and considering a local environment offsets framework and biodiversity protection. We'll continue to use design specialists across the organisation and in the Planning and Development Group to provide excellence in architecture and urban design, heritage conservation and landscape architecture with internal and external stakeholders. We will look to increase the advocacy in relation to good building design in line with the newly endorsed Toowoomba Region Design Guide, Warm Temperate Climate Building Design Guidelines. The Development Services branch continues to look for and implement opportunities to streamline development assessment timeframes. And in closing, Mr Mayor, I'd like to thank my portfolio colleague, Councillor Bill Cahill, for his contributions. Can I thank our GM, Stuart Summers, and all the planning and development staff who live and breathe the desire to make this region vibrant, inclusive and environmentally exceptional.
Thank you very much, Councillor Meagle. I'll hand over now to Councillor Bill Cahill, the portfolio lead.
Thanks, Chair. I'll keep this as brief as I can. My head's hurting from all the information. But anyway, look, I'd like to firstly thank everyone right across Council. There's been some quite robust discussion in the formulation of this budget, both from the staff and executive side and councillors, and I'd like to acknowledge Councillor Megan, my colleague, and all of my colleagues around the table. Look, under the Toowoomba Region's Future banner, the new planning scheme will be informed by that mechanism, and that ensures that policy settings are relevant and contemporary, and they promote positive growth for the region. We'll also draft a Toowoomba Region infrastructure plan, and this is sort of like a roadmap, if you want to think of it that way, and it efficiently provides for sustainable urban infrastructure. It ensures our region remains a destination, an attractive place for people to want to come and live. It services growth both in an affordable manner and facilitates economic development. It's a 10 to 15 year plan, And importantly, it enables council to understand the cost of servicing this growth. And also, with this roadmap in mind, it helps the development industry and provides clear transparency around what council's part is in providing the trunk infrastructure. If you like, that infrastructure that joins those parcels of land that we all enjoy as part of community, and some of them, lots of it you don't see, but it's there and it's necessary. It helps with charges that are collected, and I stress helps cover the cost of servicing new growth areas. It's an equitable way of planning and charging for new infrastructure that services all of these growth areas. It's a critical ingredient for responsibly delivering urban development in accordance with the planning scheme. On another front, we'll be continuing our economic development grants program across a range of areas and for stimulation of growth right across the region. We'll also be continuing some of our incentive policies across the region, and that is aimed at encouraging development right across the region. And also, council will be adopting a development model for Central Highfields to help guide investment in our major growth area, which is really, really important for all of our growth fronts. We'll be embarking on a series of planning exercises, and we've been on a journey, not just in this council, but prior councils as well, with regards to that. And we'll continue to sponsor some major events and also across be attending some of those major events as well to make sure that we're informed across major trends and things that are very, very relevant to our primary sectors across the region. Thanks very much, Mr Chair.
Thank you very much, Councillor Cahill, and that concludes the portfolio people's comments on what you've done, but I think you've all picked up the passion that there is around the table. You've all picked up the fact that there's a massive job that's before the Toowoomba Regional Council elected members. I'll just hand over briefly to Councillor McDonald to sum up and make some closing remarks before we move to adopt the resolutions necessary.
Thanks very much, Mr Mayor, and thank you to my colleagues. There's some really amazing projects, some innovative projects and projects that are very forward-thinking that are coming through once again in the 22-23 budget. And our community, as you've just mentioned, Mayor, our community should feel very confident. They have a committed and dedicated group of people, elected representatives, who are making decisions on their behalf. But if I could summarise the budget the following way. And in pretty simple terms, council is not immune to what households and businesses are experiencing right now and will be experiencing over the next 12 months. Yeah, the rising cost of living, availability of goods and services, and the continued trend of staff shortages. Those three seem to be the biggest challenges that we are facing as a council, and it's reflective across the community. And that's why this budget has been carefully considered. It's a budget that is responsible in every shape possible. A 2.5% moderate rate increase, and for the budgets that will be handed down, have been handed down and will be handed down shortly, you'll note that those increases are well, by and large, will be significantly higher than what we've put forward. But that gives me confidence that we are in a strong financial position, that this council and group of councillors have considered our community, first and foremost. We've considered our community in the rising cost of living that has taken shape and will continue to do so. So that's why our budget of $159 million capital spend is reflective of what we've been delivering over the last few years, on average around about $162 million. So we're actually budgeting for what we can deliver, and that's a really important note. And therefore I acknowledge our general managers and their teams, because they have worked through this budget with councillors from what was originally put forward to councillors to what we actually are adopting today is a significant shift, and a shift because of those three factors in mind, particularly around the availability of goods and services and the availability of staff. And the cost of living for our communities is definitely something that councillors have taken on board on behalf of their community. So we should, and the community should feel confident in the budget, but more importantly, we should feel confident that the budget we're adopting today actually does plan for the future. A really, really bright future of exciting things that are happening in our region. They're happening today and they'll happen in the future, and it's because of really strong financial decision-making in the past and very prudent decision-making here today. So I thank my colleagues for their commitment over 9 months to get to this point today. It's not something that we take lightly. In fact, it's our number one job when we're elected as councillors, is to make sure that we deliver a budget that reflects our community's wishes but is also responsible in its fashion to maintain our long-term financial sustainability. And with that in mind, I wanted to finish with some thank yous. Some thank yous to people who have spent the time with us in this room over the last 9 months. And by thanking them, I'm also thanking all those people who work with them. So Robin Gray is the Acting Manager Financial Services, Emily Kimmins, the Acting Principal Management Accountant, and Megan Bowdler, who was in the position of Acting Principal Management Accountant, Shane Morris, Principal Rates and Revenue, Drew Gatfield, Rates and Revenue, Andrew Wagner, Principal of Corporate Accounting and Long-Term Financial Forecast, David Quinlan, Acting Executive Manager, Business Transformation and Strategy, and the Architect of the Operational Plan, Kylie Delrain, Manager of Customer Community and Engagement, and your teams, and most of which are all in the room today. So on behalf of councillors, we thank you. But the final thank you, of course, must go to the General Manager of Finance and Business, Anne-Marie Johnson. First time as the official General Manager of Finance and Business, Anne-Marie, having been in this acting role last year at this very time. But Anne-Marie, your dedication to ensuring that everyone is involved in the budget process, every councillor is involved, every councillor understands the process, understands the figures, knows what we're signing up for, knows what we're doing today, is to be commended. So we thank you for that. And the commitment you've had of making sure that this is across the council budget. Everyone is included, everyone makes sure they have a say, and everyone is taken into consideration, and that is the hallmark of great leadership. So thank you, Anne-Marie, for your leadership in that regard. So, and please pass on our thanks to all of the people who are right now beavering away to make sure that this happens, and more importantly, to make sure that we can deliver on a promise to the community, which is exactly what we're signing up for today. It's a promise to the community, and I thank you, Anne-Marie, and I thank the CEO and everyone involved. Thanks.
Thanks very much, Councillor McDonald. Well, councillors, we move now to the various resolutions that we move forward. There's in the order of 16 of those, and we'll move through them. The first resolution will be adoption of the budget and revenue statement for 2022-2023. Do I have a mover? Councillor McDonald and Shine. Those in favour? That's carried. Item 2, differential rates, 22-23. Do I have a mover? Councillor Carroll has moved that. A seconder? Councillor Sommerfield. Those in favour? That is carried. Move then to Resolution 3, separate charges for the 2022-23 season. Moved by Councillor McMahon. A seconder, please. Councillor O'Hara Sullivan. Those in favour? That is carried. Move down to special charges, item 4, for 22-23 year. Do I have a mover? Councillor Vonhoff. Seconder, please. Councillor Melissa Taylor. Move then to trade, waste and utility charges. Sorry? Oh, those in favour? My humble apologies. Right, we move then to item 5, which is trade waste utility charges. Do I have a mover, please? Councillor Sommerfield has moved. Seconder, please, Councillor O'Shea. Those in favour? That is carried. Move then to item 6, sewerage utility charges for the 22-23 financial year. Do I have a mover, please? Councillor Vonhoff has moved. Seconder, please. Councillor Melissa Taylor. Those in favour? That's carried. What number was that?
7's next.
Right. We move then to item 7, waste management utility charges. Councillor Sommerfield has moved. The seconder, please. Councillor Melissa Taylor. Those in favour? That is carried. Move then to item 8, water utility charges. Do I have a mover, please? Councillor Vonhoff has moved that. Councillor O'Shea has seconded. Those in favour? Item 9, a resolution in respect to discount. Councillor McMahon has moved. Councillor Melissa Taylor has seconded. Those in favour? Carried. Move then to item 10, interest. Councillor Shine and Councillor O'Shea. Those in favour? That's carried. Item 11, levy and payment. Do I have a mover, please? Councillor McDonald, seconded by Councillor O'Hara Sullivan. Those in favour? It's carried. Move then to item 12, which is rate concessions. Do I have a mover there? Councillor McMahon and Councillor Carol Taylor. Those in favour? That is carried. Move then to item 13. Total value in charge in rates and utility charges in change. Mover, please. Councillor Cahill has moved that. I missed you last time, Bill, so I thought I'd give you... Happy to move it? Yeah. Seconder, please. Councillor O'Hara Sullivan. Those in favour? That's carried. Item 14, statement of estimated financial position. A mover, please. Councillor Carol Taylor, Councillor Melissa Taylor. Those in favour? That is carried. Move to item 15, which is debt policy. A mover, please. In regard to that, Councillor O'Shea. Seconder, please. Councillor Sommerfield. Those in favour? That is carried. Move then to item 16, application of Code of Competitive Conduct to business activities of council. Do I have a mover? Councillor O'Hara Sullivan has moved that. Councillor McMahon has seconded that. Those in favour? That is carried. Well, councillors, thank you very much. I guess what I'm saying is I'm thanking you for a long, hard journey of making sure we got this right. Can I thank all of our staff, and I guess particularly the GM in finance, Anne-Marie, and we're delighted to have you as a permanent GM, but also can I thank all the general managers, and I treasure the relationship I have with each and every one of them and any discussion we have from time to time, but also thanks to Brian Pidgeon, the CEO, and I treasure the relationship and the open, honest relationship that we have and for the benefit of this council. But to all the staff who are here, thank you so much. I think we ought to be very honoured to work with you, and we, as elected councillors, are very honoured to represent this wonderful community in which we live. With that, I'll declare the meeting closed. Thank you very much. 1:58.